up after.
All
Right. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick, and I'm joined this week by Avram. You will have seen him in a live chat. How are you, mate?
Evening, mate. How are you? You good, Nick?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. And Ricky Nelson, who you will have seen before. He's been on a few times now. How are you, Rick?
No, not bad, mate. Not bad. Yeah, no, not too sad, mate. Apart from West Ham, all good.
Yeah, no, I know. We're gonna touch on West Ham briefly. Well, no, we won't. I mean, we've got to talk about West Ham, but we'll try and keep it light-hearted. I mean, just spoke to you before, Ricky. You lucky git. You binned it off on the Monday, which I would have done. If it weren't for the channel, there's no way I would have. I didn't go over there. I wouldn't have even watched it, honestly. But I kind of had to. Avram, what about yourself? Did you go in and you said you was boycotting?
Yeah, I had a ticket. I didn't go in the end. I just went to the boozer and watched it with my mates from work and that. And yeah, I didn't even put the ticket on Ticket Exchange. Like I just took the hit. I didn't want to go.
You wouldn't have sold it, mate. There was bloody empty seats everywhere, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go because it was such a poor performance. It was just amateur. That's how I describe it best. It was just amateurish.
Two bad teams, wasn't it? Two bad teams. Really fucking bad. Yeah. No, it weren't great. I mean, the thing. Have you watched any of it back, Rick? Have you seen like the highlights or anything,
mate? No, this is the thing, mate. I had no intention of going. I would have boycotted it anyway. And then I've watched, the brief highlights you get of the goals. That's all I've watched.
Yeah.
And even that, I just weren't motivated. Do you know what I mean? It's so how I've got with it, to be honest with you. But so no, I've read up a little bit and seen what people said, and yeah, we clearly weren't setting the world alight. I mean, how lucky is Loppy that we had Wolves every bloody Saturday game
but even that game,
one of them games,
Rick,
isn't it?
Even that game. I mean, they're VAR decisions, right? Two Stonewall penalties. If we'd have, I would have wanted both. If it was for West Ham, so you got one, a stamp on the foot in the area, and then you got the other one, which is a shove. The only bone of contention with that one was it outside the area, or was it in? But there was two blatant fouls, nothing given, and you know what? The VAR decisions for Wolves are overturned like that, really quick, like proper double quick. Down the other end, Kudus, blatantly offside. They're taking about half hour to drawing lines to sort of determine whether he's offside or not. And someone brought it to me attention earlier. I watched a YouTube reel. What it was, apparently Wolves have been getting nothing but, shocking VAR decisions all season. They're the only ones that voted against VAR.
I was just about to say, they were the only ones that set motion. Yeah.
Mate.
If you believed in conspiracies, but I only saw one of the penalties. They only showed on the Premier League highlights one of those penalties, the Emerson one. But that looked, it was a foul either way, weren't it? But VAR ain't. Yeah.
I ain't even looked at it. I mean, that's a foul anywhere else on the pitch. That's what I don't get. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, massively, yeah.
And that's what I mean. Because people say, well, Lopetegui's lucky, but I'm not. And I must admit, Rick, I said it on my review that I did as well, and I felt a little bit ashamed when I was watching it because I didn't feel like that throughout the whole game, but because of what that game did to me and the way it went, when it got to sort of injury time, I just thought, oh, this is just shit. And I was sitting there, and there was a part of me that was thinking, Wolves, just score, get rid of him, just get an equaliser, and that ain't right. That's not normal for you to feel like that.
No, mate. I mean, like I said, I didn't even go near watching it, or even listening to it really on the radio. But it's how I kind of felt, and you feel dirty and you feel shit, and I'd hold my hands up. I'd listen to someone who say, "Well, how can you be a true fan if you can want your team to lose?" But I just want this pain over because it's inevitable, isn't it? It's just drags on, and what ends up happening is by the time he does get the sack, we're firefighting and we're getting, someone in to do a completely different job than what could, someone that comes in now and works with a good set of players. It's going to be a completely different. I don't know, mate. It seems so inevitable that it's
kicking the can down the road, mate. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's sort of going on that point, Avram. The timing. of his sacking, which is inevitable. It is going to happen. He's going to, at some point, it's going to go wrong because he's lost the dressing room. You know, he's got players punching him, for fuck's sake.
Well,
But the timing will determine the type of manager we get next. 100% it will.
yeah,
I think it will.
Absolutely. I was heartbroken because I did watch the game back. I watched it back this morning.
Yeah.
And I what I did was I didn't really focus on the actual like ball play itself, but I focused on our players in particular. Now, it was heartbreaking. Just the amount of effort that some of them players were putting in, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
Alvarez in particular.
He was so bad.
It was awful. Like his link-up play was awful. He was just weren't inspiring. He couldn't even make 5-yard passes after time.
I thought Kudus was shit.
But especially first half, yeah. He kind of grew into the game. Apart from the Stonewall penalties, I thought Mavropanos didn't have a bad game. And like Bowen, obviously, you got to credit Bowen for the goal and Souček as well. But especially first half, I expected more, especially with what obviously went on with like
with
the
Mickey.
issue with Mickey and that. I thought the place would be fired up, but especially like your mercenaries that we spoke about before. It's just awful, and that again goes back to Lopetegui, and he's lost the dressing room. It's what I said this before. The timing with this season is null and void now because we've left it too long. Left it too long. We could have fixed it and maybe rejuvenated the dressing room, climbed up the table in a respectable way. But now I feel like. If we do get an interim manager in, because Allegri won't come to us otherwise, it will be a pig's arse job trying to get that dressing room back, back on course. Because at the minute they're so disjointed. I can't, words don't describe it how bad it is.
It is shocking. I mean, the thing is, look, talking about the next manager. I mean, Allegri, that's not done. I've done a video on that earlier on. So the bloke that I talked to, because I was worried because I had nerd. And then the next thing I hear is Jim White saying that it's done. Apparently, it's not done. Nothing's been signed. Nothing's been signed at all. He's in England, as was always planned, because he wants his next move to be in the UK. So he's having English lessons, Allegri. He would take the job, but not until the summer. Now, look, he is a great manager. I know there's a lot of people that call him the Italian Moyes and this, that, the other. And I have also got some concerns about that. I've been talking to John about it, Virgil, and he's kind of convinced me, really. We've had these big names before. Pellegrini was a big name, wasn't he? We've had these kind of big... and when you look at the fact we've got no identity as a club, I wouldn't have said Carrick before. But for me, somebody like Carrick, for me now, somebody a bit younger, somebody with a connection with a club, I just feel like... I don't know how you feel, Rick. I just feel like that's what this club needs at the minute.
Yeah, mate, I 100%. Someone with a bit of identity to the club, which obviously Carrick ticks that box. And I know you can get the kind of, why should it be someone that's ex West Ham? But I just feel like it for all kinds of reasons. But steering away from the foreign aspect of it as well, I just think like we need a British manager and an up and coming one. And I agree 100%. Carrick would be my first choice. I just don't think, obviously, Sullivan would go for him, mate, unfortunately.
Have either of you got any concerns about, because kicking the can down the road's one thing. So he's been here, 4 months, Lopetegui? You've got players that are threatening to leave. I mean, players that have just come in, fucking Fulkrug ain't homesick. He just doesn't like it at West Ham.
Yeah.
Same with Guido. We've got loads of established players that want out. How much of a team are we going to have left come the summer? In terms of, they might still be here, but they've already checked out. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to be here. What sort of damage can be done?
That's the risk. This is why it's so depressing. It's like depressing writing off a season anyway. It's like you don't, especially when the hopes were so high at the beginning. But it's the long-term damage. Like you say, we lose this group of players. I mean, we ain't going to get these type of players again. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's going to set us back years, and all for picking the wrong manager in the first place, but then just being stupid when every man and his dog can see. I mean, Sullivan must be getting the feedback and knowing that the dressing room's lost, and I mean, they're having punch-ups and stuff, but how many players does he need knocking on the door saying that they're unhappy. You know, Kudos was the biggest one. I mean, why would you devalue it? That's the bit I don't get. He's a businessman, and even from just a business perspective, you don't get why devalue like your biggest asset, which he's doing literally by the week now.
Yeah.
I just
Kudos
think
is
it's
after
all.
player.
I think it's more about ego than money. I mean, he's 75 now, and he's already caked up. I think
Yeah.
with him, because obviously he got his own way bringing this manager in, and he's obviously going to look stupid if it fails. So I think it's going to. It will take. It will have to. It will have to have beyond any doubt be fucked before he goes. Yeah, all right, I was wrong. So it's definitely his little ego, Sullivan. But then moving forwards as well, because one thing that I do know is that Sullivan is involved in the vetting of the next managers as well. So Van Nistelrooy. Now I would like Van Nistelrooy, but that was a Sullivan one. Allegri is going via Sullivan as well. That's not Tim. You know, Tim's ones they're mentioned. You know, when you Sky Germany and Romano. So those links with the a couple of German managers and one other. I don't know, but we've got like 3 different people in the club looking for 3 different types of manager. I think Brady likes Potter because seriously, I think it is his silly. His wife is mates with her, so they're almost like friends. So this is what I've been told with Potter. And this is what I wanted to ask one of you two as well, because it's the one thing I'm getting a lot of pushback because it's likely to be Potter. It is. Am I being too harsh? Because I really don't want him.
No, I don't. Me personally, I think it's uninspiring.
Yeah,
I think it's a safe bet, but at the same time, what does concern me is that I personally believe the narrative of Brighton's system and Brighton's academy at that time and the ownership model flattered Potter.
yeah.
And I mean, for me, you've got to look back to Chris Hughton, and they even made Chris Hughton look good. And fast forward to Chelsea, I thought he crumbled under the pressure of the Bowley regime. So if that was a basket case club, you know, imagine what he's
Which we
going
are.
to be like. Imagine what he's going to be like under Sullivan. That's my view.
Well, that's the worry, isn't it? I mean, I think you either need to be someone like a Carrick who's got a connection with the club, someone who could galvanise, or you need a man manager, or you need someone with some serious bollocks. Because it looks like what we've got some egos in this team, haven't we, Rick? Obviously, we have. Which it clearly ain't an easy changing room.
No, and it's only going to get worse the longer this goes on, you know, because and like you say, there's some big egos in there, and Potter never in a million years for me, but you know, at the moment, anyone but Loppy. But it's just this back to feeling depressed, mate. It's just why has it got to this, you know? Especially
Yeah.
when Amarim was the link in the summer, and you know, here we are, and I'm not, you know, Amarim might not be a success at Man U, but I don't know. Yeah,
It would have been for
feels like
us.
the one
But
we let go.
the one that does me is the Marco Silva one. He was done. That was all done and dusted after the Conference League final, and then we kept Moyes. We would have been 18 months into Marco Silva. By this point,
And we'd have had that season in Europe with him. You know,
yeah,
it could have been the real push on, couldn't it? You know, you never
yeah.
know. You know, it could have been the real big push on that we always seem to get quite near, and never happens.
No. I think the real worry with this, because it is a depressing subject, talking about West Ham at the minute, is how much of the fan base will be alienated. Because I know there's so many people just listening to yourself, Rick. You know, I speak to Paolo quite a lot. Paul, he's walked away. He's gone. He's gone to Orient. He's done it. He's binned it. He's gone. Finished. He's not looking. But how many more people are going to be doing that? You've got the likes of John, who's been a season ticket holder for 30 years. I've never really heard him say, I'm not going to renew. Well, I've never heard him say, I'm not going to renew. You know, we was in Benidorm, and that was after 6 or 7 games, and he sat there and went, I'm just getting nothing out of it anymore. Getting nothing out of it. How many more people are going to feel like that?
It's scary, mate, because you know, we're talking about the sort of identity of the club and the fan base, and no, I'm definitely in that boat. I've said to my mate I go with, you know, there's not a chance in the world I'll be renewing next year unless drastic happens, and it's really sad because like going with my kids and it's part of the day out, but I can't even do that bit of it no more. And how many more can we afford to lose before it never turns back, mate?
No.
And that is a scary thing. We've lost obviously with the shit bowl that we're in the stadium and all that, and it seems like within a couple of years it could really be done. I mean, there'll still be some that will go, and you never know. Things might turn around, but I can't see it now. And for me, this would probably be the final nail in the coffin for the owners of the club. They're taking the piss so much. Yeah, how much more can it go on? And with the concessions thing and stuff, that just just kills me.
Do you know what though? This is the thing. I do think they've already won. I do. I feel like the West Ham fan base is a bit defeated. I don't think we've got that fight left in us anymore. If that happened over Upton Park, it'd be fucking murders. There would be. There'd be murders. I don't think you've got it anymore. I think they've diluted the fan base so well for them, so well. They've got rid of a lot of the old guard. There's a lot of new fans in, a lot of tourists. They'll still sell tickets whether we go or not. They'll sell enough while they're still in the Premier League. So yeah, I think that's part of the. I think that's the thing. That's the choker for me, is that I feel like we are a little bit defeated as a fan base now. I think if it goes to shit, I don't think that we will fight back now. I think that we'll just fuck it off. I think that's what we'll do. We'll just walk away. We go, whatever.
I think sadly you're right, mate. And that's again, you talk about sliding doors moments. Before COVID, when the protests were picking up, I really felt like we had a movement then, and I thought that Sullivan was on the ropes big time, and he got saved, didn't he? And I think that was the last. Well, it looks like it was going to be the last real opportunity for fans to galvanise, and that's it. We like you say, we ain't going to get that again. Even the protests with the concessions. It should almost, it's as bad as the bond scheme for me, if not worse. And yet people can't even be bothered to sort of
get
the black balloons going and stuff,
Yeah. Even signing a petition. If you look how long it took them to get to I think it was about 10,000 signatures. It just feels like I don't know. It is a bit of a mess. I mean, how do you feel about it all, Avram? Because how old are you, mate? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 29. So
you're not young.
For me,
you're not young. You're not a baby.
So the bond scheme for me was a bit before my time. But I started going just when we was in the Championship after we got relegated, 03, 04.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll only go now. Like the only thing that is dragging me over there now and to watch it is friends and family, and that's who I go with. I go with friends and family, and the day out and seeing them, I actually enjoy and I look forward to more than the football. The football's a byproduct now. Like if we win, we win. Like I'm so dejected and apathy is set in. I always try to get myself over to as many away games as possible. But the home, I don't know. It's just for me. I spoke to Jay the other day, and I was on about the gentrification of football in general.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a mate of mine who was a City fan, and he used to go over there when it was like Main Road and that. And he just says and he can relate. Well, obviously, we can relate to each other and it's just dead. And they
hate it. A lot of the original City fans hate it, mate. They do.
And he hates it over there because you've got what they've done as well. They've succeeded. They've got rid of the majority of season tickets. So for them, their stadium week in week out is just filled with mainly tourists, and there's no atmosphere. It's dead. It's a library. It's like Wolves the other day. I was watching it on the telly. You could hear a pin drop.
It's for 90% of that game, it was deadly quiet in there. Deadly quiet.
It's been like that all season, though, mate. It really has. It's terrible.
Yeah,
worst I've ever known it.
Yeah, well, it is. It does feel a little bit like it's a bit of a demise now. We obviously, it's starting to feel a little bit like I don't know. Could you call it a dead cat bounce? The trophy win. We've got our trophy. We thought we was on the up, and it's just been a steady fucking decline ever since, isn't it? It really has. All these players we've collected over the last 5 years, and because we have got some real gems in that team, and I know they look shit at the moment. I know Paqueta looks shit. Kudus looked shit the other day. Alvarez looked shit. They ain't shit. They're top class players, but that most of the teams in the Premier League would fucking dream. Even the likes of Somerville, the new players. I mean, he's still got some enthusiasm. I mean, give him time. That'll be gone soon. He'll be looking like the rest. He'll have that sucked out of him. I think the only player who seems to be bulletproof to all this, and he's so professional and he just carries on producing, and that is Bowen. He seems to never really drop his levels. And maybe I think that's probably what makes him a little bit different. He's not as fancy as Kudus and Paqueta. He's very direct. He's quite a simple player. You know what you're getting with Bowen. But he works his arse off, and he never, for the badge, for the fans. And that's another thing that I don't like. Although I love, and I like that about Somerville as well, although I love these star players, I love Alvarez, I love Paqueta, I love Kudus. But lads, I don't give a fuck if you don't like that manager. You're playing for us. If you're going out on that pitch, you've got no right to be moping about like that. I ain't got no interest in that at all. I think that's bollocks, Rick, didn't you?
100%, mate. It just, again, it's this disconnect from the identity of what it feels like at the moment. It just, it's hard not to get, like I said, mate. When I first spoke about it, I've kind of gone through the depression, the anger, and I'm going numb. But if I think about it, it's really sad because I do feel like this time it's something's different about it, and each way you look, whether it's on the pitch, off the pitch, and I feel sorry for the younger. Like, I'm on a group chat with a load of young West Ham fans, and I can see their enthusiasm, but I don't think it's. I think even the younger fans that are trying to get the atmosphere going and that, they're struggling, mate. Do you know what I mean? And at their age, I had no problem going West Ham, and we were in the Championship for most of it when I was in the 20s, and but like you said about sort of the Man City, and I do unfortunately think football in general, mate, has gone down that route. I know we've suffered definitely, more than others, but I think in general it's just so far away from what it was. Only 10, 15 years ago. But if you think 20 years ago, it's getting further and further away in it to what it ain't a working man's.
It's not, mate. It is a gentrification of football. It is, and we know that they are actively. This is the other thing as well. Is it sinister? I mean, it's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but is it sinister? Because we do know. I mean, I listened to that. I don't know. I like Nigel, but the more than just a podcast with that Sean Whetstone bloke. And he said several times. He talks to Sullivan, doesn't he? He said several times that they want to reduce the numbers of season ticket holders. They want people to not renew because they make more money through selling your seat 6 times a year than having you sitting in it for 20 games a year.
Well, you add on all the spend in a club shop and that, don't you? They all go club shop, the tourists, and look, mate, I don't think that's a conspiracy. I just, I think that's just, you can see it. The way they allow the day trippers to come that blatantly not there to support West Ham, and they got no regard. I mean, like, I've mentioned it before, but the wall they've stuck up, I know they can say it's the stadium that's done that, but that was done blatantly because that was one of the few bits of the stadium that had a bit of atmosphere and didn't fit in.
That's where you sit as well, isn't it, over there? Get a bit of atmosphere.
Mate, and like it's a disgrace because if you need to put a perspex glass up and you can still see through it, it's been done to, and it's done the trick. It was a really good part of the ground with an atmosphere, and it just never gets going again.
No,
and there's more and more tourists that come every game. You rarely seeing the same faces anymore. So it's working, and and again, that's another bit of sort of the sad reality of it. And I don't think that even is going to change no matter what happens on the pitch. I think that's the bit outside of the football that's
I think
more the worrying bit where comment.
I think if Krasinski does take over, because he's a football fan. He's a Sparta fan, but he's a football fan, and he's all for. If you listen to, I mean, he ain't been the best chairman for them. They do criticise him sometimes, but he's a football fan, and they've got a well lively fan base, really really lively over there. So I'd like to think that, because it's almost like Sullivan's done such a bad job. If you was the owner of surely anyone that comes in, I know it's business first and you want to make money and whatever else, but you've got a fan base, which we've got, which is fucking huge. We are a big club by when you look at our fan base. It'd be nice to be loved, wouldn't it? You know, if you just come in, make a few little changes, just make it look like you give a fuck. That's all you got to do. Because I don't think we're that demanding. Just make it look like you give a fuck. Make an effort. You know, just give us something back. I think it's gone so cold and so shit that if there isn't an intervention soon, you're absolutely right, Rick. People will walk away and they won't go back, because once you make that break and you break that cycle, it's very difficult to go back. You know, a lot of people are hanging on at the moment, but if there is an intervention quick enough, I think it could be saved, it could be salvaged, and it would be such a fucking relief. And I think if you got someone in that did care, you could make some changes that people would appreciate week on week. If you just got in a manager like a Slaven Bilic character that would talk to the fans, that would be a people person, that would fucking galvanise everyone, all of a sudden you'd have a fucking... I'll tell you what, if you really gave a shit and you wanted to have some fun, throw Paolo Di Canio in there for a few months. That would liven the fucking fan base up.
Yeah.
It would do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, mate, yeah, if Paolo was in the dugout for Monday, I would have been over there, mate. Don't worry about that.
Do you know what?
But this what I mean. It can be salvaged, but it's just, will they do it in time? Sorry, go on, mate.
I was going to say with Palo, like, he's a nutter. We love him.
Yeah.
But it'd be like, he's Palo's in, but strapping for the roller coaster, because it's going to be a ride.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? But if I was Sullivan at the moment and I've got players that are doing what they're doing at the minute, I would literally be like, Dick Paolo, long as it's in the changing room, do what you fucking want. Whatever you've got to do to get this lot in line, I don't care. Just close the door behind you so I don't see it. Imagine someone trying to slap him. Fucking hell. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
But it's like Noble. And my mate had a good point of that. So I was like, what I'd give from Noble, just for an interim period, just to get that lift again. But he said, you know, he's such a legend, you risk tarnishing it. But I don't know. I said, you know, I'd risk it with him just to say it. You know,
I think if he came in,
he's got to feel the pain.
I think if he came 100%, he's a fan. Yeah. I think if he came in just as an interim manager, and it was clear to everyone that he was just an interim manager, people would be forgiving, mate. Of course they would. They wouldn't turn on him. You know, it would just be nice just to have someone that we fucking connect with. Yeah. You know,
I'd like it to Trevor Brooking when he came in and he had that manager bounce.
Yeah, he did well, didn't he?
He did all right. Yeah.
That was amazing. Do you know what? At one point, he did seriously consider it, and again, you know, risking, especially taking it full time. You know, I think that was his reasons why he didn't take it. But I know we got relegated and he didn't quite save us. But because he come back again briefly, didn't he, in the championship? Yeah. But it was just, mate, it was like amazing. You know, like singing Trevor Brookings' Can't Believe Me. It was just, you felt like you had a leader that was West Ham through and through, and maybe it's a bit romantic thinking like that, but I don't know. Yeah, we need something. We need something to galvanise.
I think you got to be very disciplined when you're Trevor Brooking in that situation there, because he could have had that fucking job if he wanted it. So you got to be very disciplined to go, because he must have loved that, you know, especially that period where he was having that much sort of success. I know he went down, but he was adored over there. And for you to sort of turn around and say no, I'm not doing it. And I do think it's a different job as well. I said this on the video earlier on. When you bring in a manager, Oliver Glasner's a perfect example. He came in at the end of Palace this season, was brilliant. They was fucking firing their shit this season. I think it's a different job to come in and clean up someone else's mess and be a hero than when you get your contract and they go, right, now this is your project, you're building. That's different then.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's different. And I think that's, you know, that's a little bit where we went wrong with Moyes, I think, because I don't think although, look, you can't knock what he done for us. We did get a trophy with him. But ultimately, he is a firefighter. That's what he's there to do. He's limited. And we got him in to burn £500 million building a fucking project. By the time he was done, we hardly had any players left.
I think Lopetegui, to a certain extent, was a firefighter manager, because look what happened when he took over
100%.
at Wolves.
Yeah.
So now that obviously we gave him the keys and our war chest, I think he was a bit overwhelmed and to a certain extent out of his depth. I think he interviewed very well, and I've stupidly watched interviews with him with other clubs, and they've almost sent me asleep. Well, that's for another story. But like, Real Madrid,
how did he interview very well when he can't even answer a simple question in a fucking press conference?
well, that's it. He gives political answers, doesn't he? He answers like a politician. He steps sideways. With all the interviews he's done, it only like for me the big warning sign before we got him, and that's the reason why I did sign Lopetegui, was the petition. Was because if you look at the Real Madrid job which he took, first of all, how did he get the Real Madrid job? But also, how long did he last in it as well with the squad of players that he had?
Was it 13 games?
Less than that. Games? I think it was about 10. Oh. It weren't long. Like, and they were like, get this bloke out immediately, which is what we should have done at the first international break. And if we honestly believe if we'd done that and employed, because at that time we still had a squad of players who wanted to be there. We would have been able to get a good manager. But for me, the issue of keeping Lopetegui in and not getting an interim in is that it's going to tarnish the reputation of the club's reaching power. Players talk to each other. Whenever they go on the international break, they always talk to each other. Coaches always talk to each other. If you're a player and say, we get a mass exodus of players in the summer, Kudus, Alvarez, players who want to leave because they don't want to play for the manager anymore and they want out.
Our reputation's fucked in playing circles, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And your reputation in the footballing world is everything in terms of your reach of who you can recruit.
Yeah. Have we gone like so close with two managers to them being sacked like one game? Do you know what I mean? I can't. I mean, it was a good 2 or 3 times with Moyes, wasn't it? Like literally one game away.
Yeah. It's full of money. It's full of way.
Yeah, but it's so bullshit, Rick, because if you're at a stage where if you don't beat Wolves, you're going to get sacked, you should be fucking sacked. It shouldn't come down to a game, should it? It shouldn't come. It shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And he's had 2 now.
Yeah,
he had the.
So, I mean, he had 2.
The Newcastle one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you say, if what's one game? Do you know what I mean? Like, look, the fool that I am, the Newcastle,
I love that. That was good. I enjoyed
it. I was a bit excited that we was going to lose it, and that's the sad thing. Because I was all right, we get a fresh start. Then when I was watching that, I got excited about how we played and thought, you never know. And then I went to the Arsenal game, and it was just like, fucking.
Yeah.
Why did I get my hopes up again? It was just clear as day that it was a fluke.
But this is what I mean. It ain't like it ain't like with Moyes, where it did become personal with some fans, me and a lot of others, and Moyes in the end. He could never have done any right in the end. It went that far. It ain't like that with Lopetegui. He's just shit. So when we played like that against Newcastle, most fans, even like yourself and me, I would have taken a loss in that game to get rid of him. But most of us were buoyed after that. It was like, fuck, maybe we was wrong. Maybe he's going to click. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, just wasn't meant to be. I think Newcastle had an off day. They definitely had an off day, didn't they? Do you think they just took us for granted or something? Do you think they just thought, oh shit?
They had chances, didn't they? Early doors.
Yeah.
And you never know if they go in. You can't take it away. I mean, over the night, 90 minutes more than deserved it. But you never know when them chances go in, because they were, the first 5 minutes, it's, it was all them. But you just we'll never know. But I've just got this horrible feeling it's going to be.
Rick, we were playing good football in that game. Yeah. My eyes did not deceive me. We were playing good football.
Very good football. The sort of football where if we played like that and we lost 50% of the games and
I
sat
wouldn't give a
around
fuck.
mid-table, I'd go, do you know what? That'll do. You know, entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was for me. I wrote a review. You read it, Nick, didn't you? Like for me, I'd made the trip up there. First of all, I'm going to say that because they had a disallowed goal. Isak was through on goal, and it got disallowed for offside. I do think that if we conceded, there was a high possibility that we were going to crumble throughout the game. However, I was gobsmacked because I ain't seen that kind of gumption since the season before when we played Leverkusen at home in the
That
first
was a
half.
fucking good performance, that
And
was.
that was a great performance. And that was the most West Ham way performance. That's what I was yearning for. That's what I was craving. Like I want something with a bit of gumption, something like grab it by the horns and just like, give it to the opposition. But we don't see that anymore. And the players now, and they've signed off. They've switched off.
I just feel like with Loppy, and this is why I'm so certain that he's shit, is because fair enough, he's got his favourite way of playing. I get it. You've got your way that you want to play, but he's got a group of players. They're not shit. They're not good enough to do what he wants to do. Not good enough. They're not suited to do what he wants to do. For him to still be persisting with it, after 15, 16 games is a big red flag. To keep on doing the same thing when it's so clearly not working. And the business in the summer, right? I ain't really got massive issue with all the players that we brought in. It's the players that we let go as well. Fucking, what's his name? Aguirre. He's like the best defender in La Liga at the moment. Real Madrid are talking about buying him. Thilo Kehra's captain of Monaco against Arsenal tonight.
Again, that shows you with a shit manager what he can make players look like, doesn't it? And that's why if Moyes had just walked away at the end of that, after winning the Conference Cup, and like I say, Silva come in, oh mate, I honestly think that was the big push we would have pushed on. And when I mean that, I don't mean like Champions League every year, but just being a regular, top 6, top 8, and
at the start of a journey, the fans would have been happy. You got a player. Marco Silva plays fucking brilliant football. His teams do high energy. Really good football. He would be perfect for us. I think that ship has well and truly sailed now. Apparently, because they were going to go back in for him this year, and they inquired about his release clause, but apparently it's about 18 million now because we didn't sign him. He went and signed a new contract with Fulham. So, and written into that contract is a release clause.
I'm not dismissing 18 million as, it's a lot of money to me and you, but in terms of like football and sign, like it's a signing. To me, it's the biggest signing of the lot, isn't it? If you don't get the manager right, it's yeah.
It's the most important part. It is the most important part. They make it's the bloke that makes players better and grows your assets. So surely, just you should spend a little bit of money on them.
But there we go.
For me, I'm of the opinion that we need somebody in that dugout that is a West Ham person. But we've let. You were talking about signings there, Nick, and players we sold.
So am I.
For me, the worst signing and the biggest mistake that we made last season was letting Pablo Fornals go. Like he was such a conduit from the fans to the squad. Like he would have galvanised the squad. He would have been a voice in the squad to be like, you can't play like that. We've got to play like this.
Yeah.
Like he bought into the West Ham way philosophy, and to let that kind of because you don't get those players every so often. When you do get them, you need to keep them in the dressing room. That's why we gave Aaron Cresswell a year extension. It was basically to
some identity.
Yeah, some identity because he's been there since Allardyce.
Mate, I even miss Zuma, like Ogbonna, players like that. I mean, there's, and that's mad, isn't it? Saying I'm missing Zuma, but I don't think, honestly, I do. I'm not happy with these defenders. Kilman's been shit for 3 games now. You're right. Mavropanos was the best centre back the other night by a country mile. Kilman was off again, so he's been poor for 3 games. Tadibo, I like him, very talented player. They're ball playing defenders. They are, but they're not rapid. They can carry the ball, they can pass it, but I don't think they're suited to a high line. The player who would have been suited to a high line, we let go. Agüero, that geezer's rapid.
Yeah.
He would have been suited to a high line. You know, I just feel like we're fucked up, like massively. Even Downs. Would we let Downs go? Our midfield's fucked. What do we let Downs go for?
Downs, mate. That was, for fuck's sake. Like, why did we do that? Homegrown West Ham, clearly capable enough. Do you know, I'm not saying he would have set the world alight, but more than capable enough. And we've brought in fucking some shit. Well, some shit compared to him, I
They're
think.
shit Premier League players. Guido
Yeah.
is a shit Premier League player.
Yeah, he is, basically. Probably good in Spain and somewhere it's different style and tempo, but he's shit for the Premier League. Who thought he'd be good?
And we're still relying on fucking Souček.
Oh, I don't.
We're still relying on Souček. I know he loves the club, mate, but come on. I know his heart's in the right place. You can't not love the man. You can't. But he's shit. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, that midfield, you picked out Alvarez. Take that header away from him, mate. He was equally as shit, every bit as shit as Alvarez. That midfield was invisible, non-existent. Alvarez and Souček were just running around in circles, not impacting the game at all. We were Donut FC, again, because those two are just miles off the pace. They've got too much ground to cover. They're getting lost. The way we're playing is fucking stupid. I feel sorry for Alvarez. I've said this 100 times now, right? But I do think that players, they're proud, you know, especially someone like Alvarez. He's a proud man. And I think, I'm telling you, that Chelsea game, what he did to him in that Chelsea game where he put him up against Nicholas Jackson, I think he's destroyed him at West Ham. I think he's damaged his pride a little bit because he fucking mugged him off. How can you make Alvarez mark Nicholas Jackson?
Yeah.
He got absolutely brutalised.
I really, really like Alvarez. I mean, the longer it goes on, I suppose, where it don't look like he's caring, I might change my opinion because
he has been shit this year.
They should be playing, but he's been ruined. He's another one of those. A good was the same. You know, he got ruined. You know, he didn't want to be here no more, and it's so sad because why I don't know.
Yes.
Like I said to you at the beginning, I think got to go back to just feeling numb about it for a little while. Otherwise, it just drives me mad.
But you know what's going to happen though, Rick, didn't you? There's some point, there's going to be another Newcastle. They're going to reel you back in again. It will happen before the end of the season. It could be, but why I was so depressed. I was so depressed after the game the other night. I mean, I looked suicidal. I was so depressed. And we just won. And what it was, right, I thought I had been clever. I was so sure Lopetegui was going to go. So sure. That he'd been gone by that point. I got the Bournemouth away tickets, didn't I? And I'm sitting there thinking, fucking hell, I've got to go to Bournemouth now on a Monday night with me boy. And it's still going to be him. And you just know what's going to happen there. Except you don't know. None of us know. None of us know. I think in the Premier League, anyone can beat anyone. We saw that against Newcastle. Funnier things have happened. I can't see it for the life of me. He could turn it around.
What's that next run of games? Is it Bournemouth, Brighton, Liverpool, or?
No, Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton, and then we've got the likes of Liverpool, Man City.
And then it's Liverpool, Liverpool 29th, December.
Rick,
that could be another big score.
Rick, I've got a question for you, mate. Do you think things would have changed if Alvarez was made captain from the start of the season rather than Bowen?
100%. Yeah, I love Bowen, mate. I think, he's West Ham. You know, he obviously didn't come through the ranks and that, but he's West Ham through and through now. But he's not captain material, and I think Alvarez is. And if he'd been given that responsibility and that, I think he would have made a difference on the pitch. How much of a difference with this geezer in charge? I don't know, but I think it would have been the right move, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. He's got captain quality because obviously he's international captain of Mexico. But also, for me, Bowen doesn't look like a natural leader like Alvarez is. He's a midfield general. He's the type of bloke that would shove a rocket up the players' arses and get them playing.
Although you go games, you see it, don't you? See it, when you're there in the stadium and that, you see things off the ball, off the camera and that, and he's a leader. He's definitely a leader. I mean, Bowen isn't that. And the thing is, when shit's
could he grow into that though, Rick? Could he? Because we saw it with Rice, and the thing is, right, he's very timid. Bowen is timid. He don't come across as that sort of that sort of player at all. He was fiery as fuck the other night. That's one thing I will say. He was fiery. He was on it. And when I loved now, I did moan about it the other day. But basically, I've watched it back, the replay. He went to shake Lamina's hand, and Lamina pulled his hand away and told him to fuck off. Mate, he fucking flipped.
Yeah.
Bowen absolutely flipped. I like that. That was good.
Yeah, I heard about that on one of the group chats. Mate, look, if he can get that side of him, he's got to get a bit more nasty, isn't he? Just
yeah.
The crux of it, he's got to be a bit more nastier to be a captain.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't always have to be so. It ain't about always being vocal, but you need that when when it's up against it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I liked a bit even more than obviously Bowen like flipping and his like fight for the badge was the players. They all got round him.
All the players got round him. They did, and that was nice. That was good. They was all there, yeah. And what was the game where that did? What was the game where that didn't happen the other day?
Arsenal.
Oh, that was shit. Because Arsenal basically, it felt like we had been bullied. That was with Emerson, wasn't it? The Emerson foul.
And Paqueta. And it was
Paqueta jumped in. Everyone else just stepped away. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, but our run of games coming up is wholly terrifying, people. So we've got Bournemouth away. We've got Brighton at home. Southampton's, that's away. You'd think we'd win that. Then we've got Liverpool, City, Villa, Fulham, Palace, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Brentford, Arsenal. Mate, looking at these games, I'm just thinking, because I can't, the way we're playing, yeah, fair enough. You think, because we beat the shit team, so Southampton, we beat them. Fair enough. But Bournemouth and Brighton, honestly, I don't know. I don't see wins in them. I don't. After that, Liverpool and City, there ain't wins in them. So what's that? 1 win in 5. Is that enough?
We'll be lucky to get draws from then, Nick. At least Bournemouth and Brighton will be lucky to get draws, and then I don't see a win in City or Liverpool. Definitely not.
So I'll keep on saying we're clear of relegation, and then I look at the fixtures and I go, maybe we're not.
I don't think we will get relegated, but then you never say never. I think it's just again going to be fortunate enough. There's 3 shit teams worse than us, which says a lot for how bad they must be. But you got to be careful because over Christmas and a team pulls out a few results, and the more you get dragged into it, the more it becomes. That's what happened in the Roda season, wasn't it?
Do we have a manager and a group of players that are made for a relegation battle? I don't know that we have. If you got sort of the last 10 games of the season, we're not playing well. Players have got to dig in. Have we got that about us? I'm not sure. Bowen and Souček aside.
Yeah. God, can you imagine if we went down, what would happen to the club? I don't know. Yeah, that would. Well, at least get rid of the tourists for.
If it meant Sullivan selling up, I'd take it, mate. I'd take it all day. I would.
But I've said the same thing to my mate. Yeah. It's extreme, and again, you got to be careful because you might not come back from it. You can always say, bounce back, but teams do go down for years and years, and the Wednesdays, and look how long it took Leeds to come back up, and they've still gone back down. But yeah, if it meant getting rid of him and an identity, then
You think all the youth players that we've all been wanting to see, you'd probably start seeing minutes from them. Some of them players might break through. It happened the last time we got relegated, didn't it?
Yeah. It's sad though, isn't it? Because that's a real sort of step back that you shouldn't have to take. But this is what I mean, mate. It's desperation for me at the moment. I need something.
I don't like existing though. It just feels like we're just existing. It's just shit.
Yeah. We've become we're in danger of becoming the new Everton. Like we're just we're not there yet. But if we persist, and if especially if for me, if we get the next managerial appointment wrong, I do honestly believe that we won't be able to recruit properly in the summer because no one will want to sign for us because of Tim won't be able to convince the players to come over to play for the manager. And then we'll have another poor season, and then it will just be finishing from 15th to 15th, 16th, 14th. That'd be us for the next 4 or 5 years until a new owner comes in and buys us, or a director of football, or even if Tim, tries to guide us in a new direction. But under Sullivan, we've got no hope. Honestly, if he honestly needs to go.
Let me ask you both, Sam, to close the show up, because I'm kind of arriving at this point now. I want Lopetegui out. I want to replace him, but only I don't want to swap a dud for a dud. I don't see the point. You know, I don't see the sense. My personal example. So I don't want to load the question, but if the options were what we've been told, the likes of Potter, that Moyes has thrown his fucking hat in the ring. If they were the options, if that's what we're gonna get, if Lopetegui went, would you rather just wait till the summer and ride out with Loppy now and just see what he does, or are you at the stage now where no, we've got to get him out and just change him? What would you do, Rick? Now at this stage?
Well, very easy when you mention the word fucking Moyes, 100%. But yeah, look, I think media. Yeah, if it's a mediocre manager and it's just going to be fucking because they're going to, you know, they'll get their little burst of fucking results and they'll get a lot, you know, 2-3 year contract and
Yeah.
then you're going to go for it again for another couple of years. Like you're talking 3 or 4 years. Yeah, look, I'd rather, yeah, if it meant holding out for someone decent, then yeah, I suppose it's just that horrible feeling again if the season's written off. But
That shouldn't be the choice, though, Rick. For a club like West
no,
Ham, we should be, like we said, if it's 18 million to buy Marco Silva out of his contract, go and fucking pay it. Don't spend 30, 40 million on another striker that's going to fail in Jan. I would rather bin the striker. We'll stick with Danny Ings and Bowen for the season. Go and spend 18 million on a fucking manager. That's what I'd rather do.
yeah.
What about yourself, Jordan? What would you do at this stage if it don't improve, but it don't get any worse?
I think for me, I think that conditionally there needs to be an interim manager and solely interim. If we ain't getting your gold standard, Carrick, Marco Silva, Iriola, Thomas Frank, you know, all the managers I'd like. You know, conditionally, there needs to be a cut off of you will only manage us until the summer. We might, you know, and then it will. I believe there might be a positive effect from that. So we'll probably climb up to the table because you normally get a new manager bounce off the players when an interim comes in. Get your manager in the summer and then go again. Lopetegui at the minute for me is devaluing the players and the squad. We've got a split dressing room. We've got players that don't want to play for him, and it will make us harder to recruit in the summer. So the quicker that we get an interim in, as long as he is an interim, I think it will be for the best of the club.
Yeah, the risk is, as Ricky said, with knowing Sullivan the way that we fucking do, that'll be it. He'll get an interim job and he'll do all right. He'll do well.
Yeah.
And then he'll go, oh, you know, what do we need to change for? But it's two different jobs. Like I said, you know, doing a firefighter's job and then going and building a project, it is different. Yeah, they've done it before, though. The first stint with Moyes, they brought him in as an interim manager. And then they did see it through, because apparently they signed Pellegrini about 4 months before he joined, or around about the same time they got Moyes in, but he couldn't start until the summer, so they got Moyes in to do an interim job. Now, for me, if I was an out-of-work manager and I'd almost felt like I'd been forgotten about, I'd take the West Ham job. I'd look at that group of players. I'd look at the mess that everything's in, and I'd think, do you know what? I'd fucking take that for 5 months. I'd take that for 5 months. Just go in there, just fucking make a party, mate. Just make because you could, for 5 months, you can afford to become everyone's mate. I don't think, because when you're a manager, you can't really be friends with your players, not all of them, because the lines get blurred. But if you're just an interim, you can go in there and be one of the boys, can't you? You can just go in there and kind of really G him up, really make it a good feel, and that will elevate your status. So I don't see that they would struggle to get an interim manager in. With all the managers that are out there that need jobs, maybe that's what Potter's thinking. If Potter is willing to take 5 months, maybe that's what he's thinking. Although he has been offered full-time jobs. He got offered the Wolves job. He said no. Wouldn't take it.
That's interesting. I mean, that's understandable from his point of view. He don't want to wreck his reputation because a lot of people see the job he did at Brighton and still regard him that highly.
Yeah.
For me, Potter, if it's an interim job, and again, I reiterate this, I only want him for 6 months. I only want him to kind of, because in that scenario, I don't see Potter as a big character, but I do see him as a person who is a good manager in the sense that he's the type of person to put his arm around players and get confidence out of him. He's not
But sorry, mate. But my main concern with Potter is that he ain't the right man to manage a group full of egos, and he won't get the best out of this current crop in our current situation. If he was to prove that he could do that in 4 to 5 months, then you might be looking at it, because tactically he's astute. He's astute. My worry is that he ain't got the big enough character. But if he could come in for 5 months and prove he's got the minerals and he can manage that group, then maybe you could think about it. I don't know.
We're in danger of for me. That Manchester United had this problem a few years back, and they appointed Ralph Rangnick. I don't know if you remember, as an interim manager, and he was useless. He couldn't handle Ronaldo, and he couldn't handle the big kind of names in there, and he had the same issue of they continue to kind of dwindle down the table because he weren't that type of person. So I see what you're saying, Nick, and yeah, I do agree with your point.
Right, okay, gentlemen. Bournemouth. Before we go, Bournemouth, Rick. Am I going to have a good day out or a shit day out? What do you reckon?
Unfortunately, mate, I can only see one result, and that's not us winning. I think that's a Bournemouth win. You never know, but yeah, Bournemouth. I think I'm going to win that one, mate, comfortably.
Fair enough. Avram, I'm meeting you down there, mate. Meeting you down there. What do you reckon? Do you reckon we're going to be crying into our beer at half time, or?
Well, first of all, you're gonna have a good day out because you'll see me down there having a pint. That'd be the highlight probably. But
you'll see my miserable son. He'll be fuming at half time probably.
I'll be happy with a draw away at Bournemouth. I'll be happy with a point, 1-1.
I know what you'd be happy with. What do you reckon it's going to be?
2-0 Bournemouth. That's my honest opinion. I'm a realist.
I'm going to go the other way. Everyone's expecting a defeat. I'm expecting a defeat. I think it will be a defeat. I think it's likely to be a defeat, but I think we're going to do another Newcastle. I think he's just got out of jail. I think it could suit us. Reason being, Bournemouth's a really tight, shitty little ground. I don't think you get much space in there. And I think if he does put some technical players on the pitch, I know we ain't got Emerson at left back, but if he puts some technical players in there, I think we could do all right. There ain't going to be big gaps. We're not going to get overexposed because there's not loads of space on the pitch. I think we could do Bournemouth. I think we could. I just talk your bollocks, I know.
We're living out, mate.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cheers, both.
Cheers.
Speak to you all soon.
Thanks, Rick.
Come on, you wines.
Thanks, Nick.
Right, wait there, boys. 1 minute.